Look at the size of these beans. My hybrid system worked. Anybody can plant beans like this. Look at this. It's huge. All right, make sure you cut the video. It's like I'm just kidding. We're gonna take a look at these beans anyway. Okay, so that was a little bit of Hollywood magic, but check out these beans. I mean, this food plot. If you follow the channel and you remember this from last year, it was dirt. I planted soybeans and buckwheat here, but I did not have an electric fence. And the deer ate this stuff down to the dirt. This electric fence made all the difference in the world. Now, I don't want to push people to spend money to buy an electric fence, but if you're doing food plots and the deer are hitting it, this is the ticket. And actually, it's actually grounded out. The bottom wire is buried, and even almost to the top wire is buried in some places up here. That's how tall the beans are. They're up to my waist, and that's all the buckwheat in the middle. Let's go take a look at that. But the deer have been hitting it. They've been walking along the outside edge and eating these beans on the outside edge. They've learned that fence zaps them. So once they get zapped once, they don't even bother going in there anymore. But like all along that edge there, I don't want to walk all the way around, but all up here, they walk around it and they eat the beans that are sticking out of the wire. And I just mowed this today, mowed around the outside of the food plot. But today, what we're going to do is take this down. This is my spring summer food plot. We're just going to talk about this one, we'll do another video on the other food plots, but this one right here is the spring summer, I'm going to call it. And now we're going to start planning for the fall and winter. And what I'm going to do, I could do the no-till method in this strip, this whole middle of this buckwheat, and I could broadcast my brassicas in here and then smash them all down and maybe put Roundup on it. But I do not trust that no-till system. So what we're going to do is take down the electric fence. That's what we got all our stuff for today. We're going to take it down because I think everything's pretty tall enough to where even if the deer ate it, it's August now and it's not going to live much longer anyway. So I might as well just let them start eating it now. But anyway, I'm going to mow this. I'm going to mow all this buckwheat down, scalp the ground as low as I can get it. And then I'm going to put my chain drag, make a couple of scratches. My hybrid system, I invented it. I'm going to say I invented it. I'm going to go up and down with the chain drag, loosen up just the top half inch of dirt, put the brassicas down, and then run it over, and we'll see if that grows. But the buckwheat here is going to be a strip of brassicas, and on the sides will be the soybeans. But right now, we're just going to disconnect the fence, and I bought reels. I have some reels we're going to walk, and we got three strands to put on reels because we're going to reuse this over each year or so. But the Gallagher, this S40 worked, and you could see that it's buried. So this was blinking green when it was working, and I think once it grounds out, when I just came up here, it was blinking red. So I'm pretty sure. Well, you could see, like, look at the wires. They're just buried. So it was probably grounded out, but the deer stopped going in there, so it didn't even affect them because they learned. But we're going to take it down. Mm-hmm. All right, so here's my ground, and I'm gonna save all this stuff. Oh, I should have brought a screwdriver. Maybe I could just leave this on here like this. I don't know, we'll just leave it like this. I'm not going to pull the grounding rods out. Heck no, that thing's in the ground like 4 or 5 feet. We'll just leave our two grounding rods here year after year. But this stuff, we're going to pack this up, put it away, because we are done with this. I hope so. Here's our connectors, right? Nothing looks chewed on. Nothing looks broke. Perfect. And this just slides on the T-post. That's it, man. That's the whole thing. And then you can just, in the back here, Oh, I don't have a screwdriver, but the batteries in here, these actually fit. You can fit this in here, and I'll put that in when we get back to the house. But that's it. We're going to start with, I guess, this outer roll. All right, I'm no expert at this, but this is how I saw other people do this. So can you hold this for me? So we're going to start here. I've got my strand, and where I have my knots, I flatten it all off, and I just cut some of the tangled part off. So we're starting off with a nice fresh strand. We're going to put it through the feeding part first. Now on these rolls, you can see this metal. That's what you want to charge it to, because if you ever want to half unroll one of these, you literally can hang it on another fence and it'll charge that fence if this wire runs through like that, supposedly. But I'm just going to feed it around both these strands. Let's see, can you see what I'm doing here? And I like I said, I don't know if this is right. But it makes sense. And then we'll just tie it off. This Oxford 821 is going to walk in front of me, and she's going to pull it out of the hoops all the way around. And as she pulls it out, she's just going to throw the pole on the ground, and we'll drive around and pick them up with the buggy in a minute. All right, so I'm going to try to reel. And I'm keeping it nice and tight as I'm going. It's actually really faster than I can walk. All right, so we made it all the way around, and I'm right back here at the beginning. And to get the rest of this roll on here, I'm just going to drop it in this tub there, and hopefully it just spins around. Okay, that's working. Can you film inside there and show it spinning around? Was reeling faster than I could walk, and this is the large reel from Gallagher. It's all Gallagher stuff, and I'm glad I bought the large reel, because the standard one would have never fit this whole roll. There's no way. How's she coming? So there you go. This is their tape. This one's tape. The other ones are just the poly ropes or braided ropes or whatever. But the extra large reel, see how that fits on there? Whew, man. So what I'm going to do is they come with these handles so that you can connect it onto something. So just to save the end from unrolling, I'm going to tie this on here. Not that we'd use this, but you know, that's something down the pipeline we've been talking about, is fencing off these fields and different pastures for a couple years from now to do some rotational grazing. So eventually all this stuff is going to come in handy. And there's enough on this reel to where we could always cut it if something goes wrong. I mean, it's a lot on there. Okay, so now we've got to do it 2 more times for the top strand and the bottom strand of the poly, of the braided or poly. I forget what it's called, which one I bought, but we're going to go around 2 more times, pull out all the white pigtails all the way around. The T-post with the insulators on the T-post, I'm just going to leave them here. Because there's only, I think, 10 of them around the whole field. So there's going to 10 T-posts, and then the 2 grounding rods are just going to stay here. But all the other, the wires and the pigtail ones we're taking out. So here's a pro tip. When you're going around picking up all these pigtails here, these little holes, especially the white ones that have all the extra guides on them for the wires, if you try to put these away, like I use these 55-gallon drums, if you try to drop them straight down, they hit each other and they get all tangled up. So the best way to do it is lean your barrels on an angle, and you could just drop them in the top. See how I'm doing that? Because the top stays open, you just throw them like that and they go all the way in without getting tangled up. So it makes it a lot easier. And then I do the same thing back in the spring when I was pulling them out. You lay your barrels over to the side, and as you go, you can just pull them out without them getting tangled. But you can't stand them straight up and down, because like you'll pull one and 5 or 6 will try to come out at the same time. So another pro tip. But we're all done. It is done. Let's take a walk up here and check this out. The grounding rods, they're going to stay here, and a couple of the T-posts around there. But look at this. I mean, this is, you couldn't ask for anything better. And there's I can't even see weeds in there. Like literally, the weeds, there was a couple clumps of weeds, and the soybeans just choked them out. Well, I can see a little bit of grass right there, barely sticking up out of the soybeans. And if you look at all the white flowers, all the buckwheat, I let it stay the whole time, and all the black inside there is seeds. So it actually went to seed, and all those seeds are probably going to drop in the ground, but I don't care, because they're going to die anyway. So I'm going to end the video here so it's not too long, but I'm going to come back and I'm going to do my hybrid system. I'm going to mow that all the way down to the ground, the buckwheat in between the 2 patches of soybeans, and I'm going to scratch it up, and I'm going to broadcast that brassica and drag it again and be done. And the deer will start eating in this. Look at the dog. The deer will start eating on this, and maybe they'll thin these beans out to where even some brassica can come up in between the soybeans. But I don't think these beans are going to have much longer to grow. And they actually went to pods. They have there's flowers everywhere on them. You can see all the purple flowers. Every stinking plant. Like there's actual pods. Can you see all those pods down in there? I mean, they're tiny. They're all still growing. But man, it worked. It's good. Now, the next food plot we're going to go to, another video, total opposite. And we'll get to that maybe the next video.